Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video we're going to be covering a couple of different players in terms of transfer rumours, incomings and outgoings as well. But before we do dive into it, I do want to just quickly apologise for the lack of match review over the weekend. Of course we did play Pompey, I did a preview to the game. I was really excited because for the first time in a while I had a full weekend off work, so I was excited, thought it'd be perfect. And of course come Saturday morning I was ill as hell. I was so unbelievably unwell. There was no way I was in any fit state to make a match review. I watched the game, of course. Fantastic 3 points. You know, it was a gritty, determined performance. A shaky opening 20-odd minutes. The pitch was absolutely horrendous, which, you know, someone needs to be held accountable for because it was Sunday League at best. It was terrible, our pitch. You know, we complained about Pompey's, you know, when we played them in the reverse fixture, but of course theirs was... It was a swimming pool, but ours was just horrible. It was shocking. You could barely play football in it. It was just ripped to shreds, bubbling all over the shop. But in the end, we managed to get away with a 1-0 win. But yeah, even on the Sunday, the day after, I was still really ill. And then, of course, I go back to work on the Monday morning and I'm absolutely fine. So here we are. I was very, very sour over the weekend, despite the 3 points. But yeah, so in terms of the topic of today's video, we have a couple to get through. So first, we're going to go through a potential incoming, and it has been reported over the last couple of days, youngster Jacques Clarke of Spurs. I think he's 21 years of age right now. He's a winger, and a lot of people's first impressions of, you know, why are we going for another winger? We're already heavily stocked up on wingers. But I suppose when you think about it, you've got McGeady, who I don't think is any close. It's not really, you know, I know he's been training in bits and pieces, but LJ has said that he's not particularly, you know, he's not particularly close to coming back, so we can't really count him. We have Gooch, who, you know, in this system he might end up playing as a wing back, but yeah, I suppose you can count Gooch. And then you've got Dietrich and you've got Roberts. You know, Roberts hasn't started yet, and Dietrich. So that's 4 right there. One of them being injured. And, you know, I suppose if you really wanted to, you could count, you know, Embo or Pritchard. But for me, they're number 10s. I guess in the system that we're playing, they might end up finding themselves in the wings. But in terms of natural wingers, we only really have Dietrich and Gooch and Roberts. You know, it depends what they want to do there. Maybe is Gooch going to leave? Is McGeady seeing his time out now? You don't know. But for me, in terms of the player itself, I really like him. I haven't seen him in recent seasons, I won't lie to you. The sort of clearest memories I have of the lad were a couple of years ago when he was on loan at Leeds, and he was really good there, really good. I think he made 20 plus appearances there, and he looked really, really lively, and that's where he started to make a little bit of a name for himself. You know, he was only 18, 19 at that point, playing off the wing, really, really direct, quick acceleration. He was so brave, you know, for such a young lad. You could see he was sort of wise beyond his years. He was just so calm on the ball. A little bit like Dhannoo, you know, there's times where Dhannoo, you know, he might have a couple of big brick shithouses in the middle that are towering over him and they're trying to crunch him and sandwich him, and he'll just really calmly just kind of turn and swivel in between him. He has that same kind of like elegance and confidence for me. You know, because I don't think he's absolutely rapid, but he has that quick change in pace that can really sell defenders, and he's so direct and brave and really asks questions constantly. He's constantly whipping balls into the box. I remember the reason I remembered him so well is I'm pretty sure he used to wear, I could be wrong, but he used to wear the sort of classic David Beckham Predator football boots. So that's why he stuck in my mind a little bit. But yeah, so I think he's been on loan at QPR. And he'd also been on loan at Stoke. His Stoke loan got cut short because he suffered an Achilles injury which ended his season. So hopefully, you know, we've been bringing in players recently. You know, Pritchard, who he was heavily injury prone, and he's been really good in spits and spurts. Now I think he might have picked up another niggle again. You had Corey Evans, who had a piss poor injury record, and we brought him in, although he's started to be decent in spits and spurts again. You know, Huggins is out. We know we've built up a lot of injuries, but essentially, you know, you'd like to think that at the minute we're giving chances to players that might not get it elsewhere, and he looked really, really good in that season for Leeds those years ago, and he looked very, very good, and didn't look out of place at all within that squad. So if it's another player who, if we give him the opportunity, better form, better confidence, if he is to come, of course, it's still rumours, but there are some pretty high-profile journalists that were reporting the interest from Sunderland. So if we were to bring him in, I'd be more than on board for it. But I don't think that those are the areas, or at least of the winger or the sort of the wide midfield roles are where we desperately need players now. For me, I think we need a big central midfielder, a big physical presence in the centre, and also a striker. Now, the reason I did mention the sort of injury record as well, it's just a little bit of, not sourness, but, you know, people have been arguing about the whole Jermaine Defoe case, right? And I do get it, I understand. I suppose on the sort of, on the face of it, he's a 39-year-old. You know, people say, oh, he might just be a sub. You know, he might be injured, he might not be fit. You know, the only reason Lee Johnson has been a little bit sort of iffy about it is because he could get injured and this, that, and the other. I'm thinking, well, hold on a minute. You know, you've got Evans, who has a terrible injury record. He's literally made a frigging Weetabix, and we sign him up. You know, there's other players as well who've had poor, very poor injury records, and we sign, you know, with Denver Hume, who I'm going to get into very, very shortly. Denver Hume, he has a god-awful injury record, yet we were trying our absolute best. We were bending over backwards to get him to sign for us in the summer, and he was terribly injured. And yeah, you might think, oh, he's a bit younger, but it's still the same. I'd rather a 39-year-old Jermaine Defoe than a Denver Hume. Do you know what I mean? So for me, some of the excuses just don't wash for people who are already kind of sticking up for Lee Johnson. And again, if Jermaine Defoe signs for another club, and that is fine. That, you know, of course I'll be upset and I want him to sign for us. But if it did come to fruition that it was simply a case of everyone else was given the green light but Lee Johnson, then I don't think I'd be able to forgive Lee Johnson. I really don't. I just think it's such a shit move not to sign him if the offer was there. But either way, we'll see. There is a little bit more gossip to that, but I won't go too deep into it, but basically, essentially on Twitter, which is my sort of main source of info for a lot of things, Gemma Lowry, of course, the mother of Bradley, the legend that is Bradley Lowry. Of course, we know the relationship that Jermaine did have with Bradley, and therefore had and has remained in contact with Gemma. Now, Gemma, you know, I've never met her in my life. You know, I've never really had any sort of communication with her, but she comes across a lovely, lovely woman. But she does still have contact with Jermaine, you would think. And she tweeted out, it was the last night or the night before, essentially saying, if Jermaine signs for another League One club and it isn't Sunderland, we all know who is to blame. And then that was quickly and swiftly deleted about 10-15 minutes later because journalists were grabbing hold of it. Everyone was saying, oh shit, like what's going on here? Is there something that we don't know? She later tweeted again saying, you know, that wasn't me. I think someone has access to my account. You know, it's up to you guys. You can decide what you think about that one. But yeah, so that did shake a few people, including myself. I just thought, shit, it's not happening, is it? It's definitely not happening. She knows something we don't. But either way, you never know. She could have literally been hacked. Was she though? But either way, so next up we are going to be talking about the last topic on this video, and that is Denver Hume. So Denver Hume is reportedly on his way to Portsmouth for around anyway. It's a reported figure of about £200,000. For me, you know, if there's been a lot of debate surrounding Denver Hume, does he deserve the colossal amount of hate he's received on social media? No, I don't think so. Is he as bad of a player as people are making out online? No, I don't think he is. I've made it, and I've given the same speech about Denver Hume a million times. Yes, defensively he's never been fantastic. He hasn't. But there has been times, and I do think people have short-term memories, and this is this kind of same speech I've given. I remember the first sort of 4 or 5 months in the reign of Parky, or sorry, that first half of that season when Parky eventually was put in charge. But the first half of that season, when we were playing poorly, we looked so dead in terms of creativity. Going forward, we looked so soft. We weren't threatening at all. Literally, the only player that was bringing us up the pitch was Denver Hume, and he was the absolute shining light. And people just immediately forget about that when other players begin to perform again, and it kind of shadows him out. And people just think, oh no, he's just a left back who can't defend very well again. But you know, we can get forward sometimes, and I think it's very, very unfair because there was times, like I say, he dragged us up the pitch single-handedly, taking 1, 2, 3, 4 players. His end product, of course, it needs a hell of a lot of work. But, you know, as an academy graduate, yes, he messes around a little bit at the beginning of the season. But, you know, some of the hate he's getting, it's beyond. It's just far too much for me. Far too much. I don't think it's acceptable, really. But obviously, people can have their opinions. If you think he's shit, then fair enough. I don't care. But, you know, to call him every name under the sun, I don't think it's right. You know, regardless of whether he's an academy graduate or not. You know, you think he bloody killed someone with the way some people are acting. But yeah, Denver Hume to Pompey. It looks like it's going to go through. He's probably going to get injured. Don't get me wrong. I hope he doesn't. I don't wish injuries upon anyone. But he seems to have 2 or 3 games in him before he's injured for a long period of time. But when he is fully fit and he is firing, he is a dangerous left back, and he's a very, very useful tool to drag you up the pitch. His crossing ability is shocking. Defensively, he did improve somewhat before he got injured, but you know we haven't really seen him enough, and he does get injured every other game. So I hope he does do well at Pompey if he is to finish, or if he is to finalise his deal there, should I say. But yeah, Pompey fans, if you're coming here looking for a review on Denver, then that is it. And I don't think he is as bad as some fans have made out. But is he great? No. But that's it. So pretty much, yeah, that's everything in the video today, guys. So what do you guys think of the continued saga of Jermaine Defoe? You never know, he could have signed by the time this video's over. Probably not, but you'd like to think so. What do you think about Clarke, the potential signing of Clarke, and also Denver Hume going to Pompey as well? Let me know in the comments down below. But if you have enjoyed, hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, you take care and stay jamming.